I watched the show Ink Master as a professional tattoo artist. What's your take on it?
I love and hate Ink Master. I've had 3 opportunities so far to be on Ink Master and Ink Master Angels.
Do you have any tattoos where you were like, this is bad?
A lady came in that was clearly a prostitute with a guy in a 7 Series BMW, which is not a cheap one. She was like, so I need to cover up because he's tired of looking at this. And I was like, what is it? And she had a little smiley face in her butt crack, like right above her butthole.
Whoa, in the crack?
In the crack.
I'm Cody Troutman, and this is my podcast, the Cody Trout Pod.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Whoa. I know you can't hear it, but the studio audience is going crazy.
I've heard about it.
Standing ovation in my headset. And if you think about it, there are trillions of microorganisms in this room going wild for you right now.
Yeah, some in my shoes.
Some on your shoes. He stepped in dog poop in the yard, didn't wipe it off. Well,
it's nice carpet, but it's not that nice a carpet. Like, it's fine. I mean, I did wipe it off on your stairs technically, so it's cool.
That's totally fair.
Yeah, we're upstairs.
We are. This is isn't that old Theo Von? We're upstairs.
Yeah, he says I'm upstairs, but I don't know what it's about. Like, I listen to his stuff now, but it's old. I'm assuming it's like talking about poverty and going, I can't imagine having an upstairs. Like, that's my best guess, but I've never looked it up or anything.
That's smart.
But I don't know. I know it's on his intro. It's like very vague on his, it's like really like in the background. So,
but this, folks, this is Andrew Patterson.
Howdy.
All the way from Lawton. Andrew is a tattoo artist, a comedian, and basically a comedy club owner at this point.
Yeah, I like that. Basically a comedy. Basically is a very important word there. But yeah.
You know what? We're going to delete it. Yeah. Legitimately.
No, I disagree with that. I had to tell the city a lot, and that it's not a real business, or I'd be paying $3,000 in taxes.
That is true. So we're gonna correct that record.
It's a show that takes place inside a comedy or inside a tattoo shop, but it does have its own name and business listing.
Nice. I do think that's what. So your tattoo shop is a tattoo shop by day, and you convert it into a comedy club-like setting at night. Where did the idea come? How did you decide to do this? Because everybody that performs there loves it. I've performed there a number of times. It is like the best venue in the whole state.
Thank you.
And so I know everybody loves it, but I'm sure it didn't start this way. How did you have the idea? Where did it come from? Just a brief little teaser for us.
So the idea is mostly from Comedy Crunch in Dublin, Ireland. It's a thing that, now I thought that not Danny McBride. Dang. Why can't I remember names now? Danny McBride is not the guy's name.
Okay.
He's like one of the... Anyway, I'm not going to say his name, but it's a name like that. But the guy that I thought was running it turns out to not run it. He just hosts there a lot. But it's a free show in a place called the Stag's Head in a really popular like downtown area. So it's like a very tourist heavy spot.
Nice.
And you see a listing on TripAdvisor and you go, I'm definitely going to go check this out. And then you get there and you're like, there's literally no club here. There's nothing. And then you go into the Stag's Head and you go, hey, where's Comedy Crunch at? And they're like, oh, it's downstairs. There's no signage. You just go down these stairs. You almost hit your head the whole way down, even if you're short. Whoa. And it's this little tiny room, and it's really cool. And it seats probably, like, legally in America, it'd probably seat like 35 people.
Okay.
They put about 100 people in there. It's nuts. But it's free, and they give you free ice cream. And there's a bar, so the bar makes money, and the comics just ask for tips on the way out. Wow. So that's kind of how I started. I had 2 shops, and I had one that was like the one that the shows are at now had a different layout. And there was like, there's a hallway, and everything else is just rooms. So there was no, I mean, our lobby was like 12 by 16 feet.
Okay.
So there's no room to do a comedy show. So I did it at my private studio where me and one of my friends worked, and it was not a good layout. You did a show. I pointed out that flyer over there. It was called Comedy at 32 because the shop was called 32. And I just was like, I'm just going to do the closest thing I can to that. So free ice cream sounds like a mess. I don't have a freezer. We'll go free pizza.
Genius.
Free soda and water. That'll get people here. They'll just free anything should work. And it worked. The first show, it was more of an open mic. I called it an open mic, and then I invited everybody I thought was funny. And most of them showed up, and I thought like 4 would show up. So it was like, oh fuck. I was wanting us all to do like 15 minutes and I was going to do 5. So I guess we'll all do that anyway. And I didn't do any math. I have no idea how long the first couple shows were.
7 hours.
Dude, it was long, but they were fun. And it was like a bad shape. It was 3 chairs wide and about 20 chairs back.
Nice.
So it was just like a hallway. And I had to install curtains just to block off like where all our equipment was.
Yeah.
And then whenever I had an incident that required me to lay off a lot of people, I had 7 people working for me. 1 was leaving, and I needed to get rid of 3 more. Dang. I was like, well, guess while I have 2 shops and don't need that much space, I'm not hiring anybody. Let's just remodel Avenue. So everybody that was still working for me worked at 32 under an appointment-only capacity for however long it took to remodel, like maybe 3 months.
Yeah.
Did all the work myself with the exception of like Brandon Whitaker helped me with a little drywall. Matt and Brandon helped me with the demo. And then I had a flooring guy just because my knees were shot by the end of the whole project. I literally just couldn't get up and down off my knees anymore. But I learned how to do concrete repair. I had Wayne Morris did the electrical, but I also did like half the electrical.
Nice.
So I learned how to do plumbing. But yeah, I just remodeled it and was like, okay, what's the biggest I can make the comedy room while still making it look like a normal lobby and still giving my guys really luxuriously large, comfortable spaces to work in where their clients feel cool.
Yeah.
And I think I nailed it. Like measurements wise, I wish the building was about, 10 feet wider, but it's not. So for what I have, I think it's good. And then we just started doing shows, changed the name from Comedy at 32 to Comedy Avenue. Just always kind of growing. I started out with just the curtains. We widened out the curtains a little. Now it looks better on camera. Started out with shitty stage lights. Now we have good stage lights. Started out with no photographer. My wife had kind of dabbled in photography before, and she's got a natural eye for it. And now we have an in-house photographer that's amazing. So, and like legitimately, like she might not watch this, but you can attest to it. Comics are not used to that quality for free, right?
No,
it's like you got her, and then David Steele is like the only other person I've taken any decent pictures of any comics.
Yeah.
And we really appreciate it.
The pictures she takes are awesome.
Yeah, but I don't think she understands, like, it makes her day when somebody changes their profile picture and she goes, oh, I took that.
Yeah.
It's like, it's great. But I don't think she gets how much we're like,
I'm going to change my profile
It's
picture.
great. You don't have to do that, but it will. But it's like all those little steps. And now I'm trying to get the recording quality up. So I bought a good camera and I've recorded my own stuff, obviously. I've sent you some videos. They're decent.
They're good. I think they're great.
The audio quality, I think yesterday, is when I got it figured out.
Oh, I made another tweak? Nice.
Yeah, but I also just bought a new recorder and 4 mics. So so we're going to see if I can make it even better.
Nice.
But I think I finally got it kind of dialed in. So it's just one of those things. I needed stage time. I live in Lawton, an hour and 20 from the closest club. So I was driving to Looney Bin when I started, and I was like, this is a lot of driving for one mic. And then I would go to Looney Bin, and back then Matt Rainey had, I think it's called New Shit, at the Pink Flamingo or Pink
Ugly Flamingo.
Ugly Flamingo.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, yeah. So I would sometimes go to New Shit after, and then I get home really late, and then I got to wake up in the morning, and I was like, this is for 8 minutes to 15 minutes of stage time. This is a lot.
Brutal.
So that's kind of why I started it. And I thought it would be a fun open mic. And then it was a fun showcase. And then people like Josh Firestein are like, I'll do it. And I was like, what the fuck?
Cool.
That sold out so fast.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I just kept growing it, and I plan to keep growing it until I can't grow anymore. And it gives me something to focus on that's fun. My wife likes to help with it. Some of the parts, like she does all the flyers. I don't think she loves doing most of the stuff that she does for it, but she doesn't mind the flyers. She enjoys taking pictures. I don't think she enjoys editing pictures.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of a fun thing we get to do together, and it gives us something else to talk about. And then my son talked me into doing a clean show. So I texted you the other day about that because we were on a cruise, and he was like, hey, this is really fun. There's other kids in here. I'm having a blast. You're a comedian.
Had like a comedy show on the cruise?
Yeah, they had PG shows every day.
That's cool.
And I thought, like, on a cruise, already I'm just like going to be a hack. And then on a cruise doing the kid show, no, dude, I'm so bad with names. I don't know why I can't remember any names.
But they were good?
Yeah, the one guy in particular was amazing, and I've tried to book him. He doesn't look at his comments or DMs.
Dang.
So, but,
do you remember his name?
No,
especially if he's clean.
I mean, I can find his name after this, and then you can, if you want to include it in so he can work for 45 clean. Damn. He does a different set every show.
Wow.
So I'm doing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shows over 3 days. 8 shows over 3 days. He'll do each one a different set. That way people keep coming back because it's a cruise ship with 3,500 people on it. So he wants all of them.
Wow.
Yeah. And then when he gets done, he stands at the door and he's very personable and nice. And he was like, so I got this QR code on the back of my pass. You guys can just scan that. I'll take you to Instagram. And then for when there's an older crowd and it's clean, He has a joke to make kids feel included.
Yeah.
He's like, I bet nobody understood what I just said except this side of the room. And it's like a funny, like he's making custom tailored. They're not the greatest jokes, and he would even admit that, I bet. But
when you got 6 hours of material.
Oh, no. 99% of it's amazing. I'm saying he has a little thing that usually would just be an announcement that's like a joke at the end. And usually it would literally just be like, hey, thanks for coming. See me at the door. Follow me on Instagram. Nice. He makes even that part hilarious. So his whole set's great. And then that's even great. So my son saw it, and my son was just like, what's the deal, man? Yeah. So he kind of put me on the spot and was like, why don't you have... And we'd talked about it, but it's like a show that's kid-friendly. So I want to do a free show that is... It's free for kids with an accompanying adult that is cheap, $5-10.
Yeah.
And lots of benefits for kid where it's like, it's worth it for the kid to come. Like we have a deal with Texas Roadhouse where they give us a bunch of free kids meal cards. Nice. Kids get kids meals, stuff like that. Like, so there's something that's not just a comedy show, and then like not say BYOB, not try to encourage any adults to come. My idea is if we do it absolutely free, but it's pre-sale only, and you have to like register. And then I market it through like the jiu-jitsu gyms and stuff like that that have a lot of kids. We go, hey, bring your kids. You can bring as many kids as you want as long as there's one adult with them.
Yeah.
We recommend like 12 plus, but it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And then get the same lineup that night to do a show for adults. So then I could get, like you said, Cepeda, and I was like, oh, he does work clean. He's very funny. I don't want to ask Cepeda to drive 3 hours to tell jokes to a bunch of 9-year-olds that are fun, but like, what do you get out of it? I mean,
that's
working clean.
Yeah, that's good practice.
Yeah, but
still
yeah,
really
that's
fun.
I mean, I don't know what else to say about it, but that's where it's at. It's it's one of the few things I can like very openly say I'm very proud of, and anybody that talks shit about it, I don't believe them. So, and that's
anybody that talks shit about it just wishes they were working it more often.
I mean, yeah, probably. I hope so. But the thing is, like, we have shows that flop all the time, and I always think like that's my fault, and then I go, oh, I've been to the Looney Bin in Bricktown when there's not that many people.
It's hard, yeah.
It's just, if you don't have a huge name coming through, like it's 50-50.
Yeah, getting people to come out to a live event is really hard.
Yeah. Unless it's somebody they've heard of that they followed for years, and then it's too easy.
Yeah.
Like I've seen like Sam Morril can pack the place at Bricktown. Like it was kind of scary. I think Bricktown might have broke all the fire codes.
Damn.
I just got a general admission ticket, and I was on the back wall touching another guy. Whoa. Like we were touching each other inappropriately. And my wife was on the other side of the table, and she was touching who was next to her. And I've never seen it that tight in the very back.
Yeah.
Like it's usually you're pretty, you got a foot between each person anyway.
Damn.
But it was as many chairs as they own, I'm pretty sure.
That's pretty cool.
It was cool. Yeah. I liked it.
Yeah, Comedy Avenue is incredible. Just
Thanks.
The production quality, the care that goes into setting up the space, the green room, how the comics are treated, how the audience is treated as well. Because like it's a real showroom. You're not just like, oh, I guess I have to like find a chair in this random dive bar. No, you set it up like a comedy club. Yeah. It's top of the line. You should be super proud of that.
Thank you. On that note, I will say I wish I had better chairs. I can't find good, comfortable chairs that are easy to store, and we don't have a lot of storage space. So I've thought about
the cushions. I think that helps.
Yeah, I had the cushions, but I've thought about buying, and this is gonna get boring, but I've thought about buying like really nice like church chairs, whatever you'd call them, that are a lot thicker, like a conference room would have. And then buying a small camper and putting it on the side of the shop, but I got to talk to my landlord. The other thing is that would be so much more work to put out.
That would be a lot of work.
So I could just do twice as many shows and shorten them a little bit. Like I could just do like, we'll just do 40-minute shows. That way nobody's ass hurts, and we'll do 2 a night. But that's only once we sell that many tickets. So we'll see.
True, dude. I think it'll happen. Every time that I'm there, you've leveled up something else.
Thank you.
And the community that goes to the shows knows it, so they know they keep coming back.
The people that keep coming back blow my mind, because at first I was like, okay, how am I going to put myself on every show and not in a douchey way?
Yeah.
I was like, well, let's just say, how am I going to put myself on every show and not make people hate it? Because it's going to seem a little douchey at first.
You become a great host. You're great with the crowd
and
work.
that was my goal. I was like, I just started doing crowd work and making them feel involved more. And it's I'm working a muscle. So it's a free exchange for us. It's like you get something you want because you see it on the internet. Mm-hmm. Then the comics don't have to feel obligated to do it. But if they can, we already opened the door. Also, in doing crowd work, I can explain to you that this next guy just going to do 15 minutes sharp. Don't fuck with him. And so it gives me an opportunity to go, this next guy that's coming out, he has an hour of great material. You don't want to interrupt any of it. because he's only got 15 minutes. So,
Gotcha.
So I can use that as like several layers of fun tools and get practice, and they like it. So it's like now it's not a problem. But I was like, fuck, I was trying to produce a minute a day.
Damn.
And I was writing several minutes worth of material a day, but as you know, you write a lot of shit down. It doesn't always mean anything.
It's hard to find stuff that works.
I was writing prolifically. I was not polishing it. I had a lot of nice-ish turds. So I've slowed down on writing, and I still have try and joke shows for that, though. I have a bunch of writing that I got to work through. But
I think the try and joke shows are cool because it's like, hey, the audience knows you're working it out, so it's almost like a collaborative effort. They feel like behind the scenes.
Yeah, and that's kind of how we try to market it. And also when you have two people on one show on stage at the same time, if I say something that makes absolutely no sense and I'm up there with Matt, then he goes, "What the fuck are you talking about, dude?"
Yeah.
And then that's hilarious to them because they're like, "Oh, the guy that's supposed to know what he's doing is an idiot." Ah!
Okay.
And we do that to each other on every joke that flops. Then when a joke's really good, about 1 out of 5, one of us is going to add a tag that sticks. So you get a free tag right off the gate. You don't have to like wait for somebody to add a tag for you or wait till you think of something. You go, "Oh, that does make sense." And then now it's in the joke the first time you ever bring it out of that shop.
Yeah, that's good. So you do comedy. You run the comedy club that's not a comedy club for tax reasons.
Correct.
And you're also a tattoo artist. I think an interesting overlap between comedy and tattoo is the last time that his tour came here, you got to tattoo comedy legend Big J Okerson.
Yeah, that was really cool.
I would love to know how that came about. What was it like? Like, that's so cool.
It was great. It was really cool. I wish he would let me do like a portrait or something, but I did a small cover up on his arm.
Yeah.
But basically, his opener, John Carden, had met me 3 times.
John's awesome.
John is awesome. Done a little bit of stuff with me, but we were following each other on Instagram, and he likes my work. And he was apparently just in a green room once talking to Big J, and he was like, "Hey, we're going to Oklahoma City. That's where this guy's from. I love his work. Check it out." And it was just a conversation. He wasn't trying to sell him a tattoo.
Yeah.
And then he goes, "Do you know him good enough you could get me an appointment?" And he was like, "I think anybody with money can get an appointment." Like, "I'll get you an appointment."
He does operate a business.
Yeah,
that is generally how it works.
Yeah. The difference is most of the time you got to go to the shop, and I went to Big J.
You went to him.
Yeah. I
Okay.
tattooed him at the hotel.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was really fun. So basically, John was like, "Hey, Big J wants a tattoo. Is it cool if I give him your number?" And I was like, "Is there like 2 Big J's or?"
You mean Big J as in Okerson?
Yeah, and he was like, "No, the Big J Okerson that is a normal person that you're putting on a really high pedestal. Great comic, but like he's a human, dude."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, I guess he probably is. I don't know. I never thought about it." But I was sitting next to my son. I remember it very vividly. I was like, "Dude, Big J Okerson just sent me a text message." And he goes, "I don't know what that means." Like, he didn't say, "I don't know who that is." He's like, "Okay." And I was like, "He's like one of the greatest comedians working right now." And he goes, "I doubt that." I love my son. He's fucking hilarious. But he's like,
"Dad, if he's texting you, how good is he?"
Right. Yeah, he's like, "Okay, he's probably pretty good." But like the thing is that I kind of had to prove myself to my son, which is honestly like half of everything I do.
Yeah.
Is my kids are very supportive and loving and cool, but also I am their dad. So they're like, if he's doing jokes at a tattoo shop, like they're how good could it be?
Yeah. Kids never think their parents are cool.
Yeah. Which I think my kids think I'm cool compared to their friends' parents.
There we go.
But like your dad just can't be that cool.
Yeah.
So I saw a message from him and he asked some questions and he was like, "Hey, so these are the dates I'll be in Oklahoma City. I'm thinking Thursday after the show because I only have one show that night would be the easiest." And I was like, "Yeah, that's no problem." I had an appointment Thursday at noon and I was like, "Okay, I got to get shit packed. We'll figure it out."
So you already knew you would have to go to him?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was like for sure. There's no way he's coming to me an hour and a half away and without a car.
Go mobile with a tattoo rig?
Well,
how do you? Yeah, you're in a studio with all your equipment. How do you go mobile and tattoo somebody off site?
It's way easier
Feels
than it used to
black
be.
market.
Yeah,
You
it
know?
does feel black market, and it's technically illegal. But
you don't get AIDS.
Well, I mean, I did give him AIDS, but
Okay.
other than that,
But that was from the
no,
sex.
that was. I was gonna say it had nothing to do with tattooing. We had a great night.
Yeah.
But no, it's actually pretty easy now. So I have like a toolbox that is kind of shitty. That was like a little Stanley that I used to put everything in when I go to conventions, and then you bring a massage table. They just fold up. You can carry it on one.
Oh, okay.
And so what I did on this one was I went to Home Depot or Lowe's and bought a nice one just to tattoo Big J so I didn't look like a fucking loser.
Nice.
So I spent like 50% of the tattoo price on equipment to make sure I didn't like look unprofessional. But yeah, you just put everything in a toolbox. It's all battery operated now. Like lighting's an issue, but at hotels, one of the first things I said is I was like, hey, is it cool with you if I just rearrange the shit out of your hotel room and steal some lamps? And he was like, yeah, that's fine. So then I know I don't have to bring lamps, because what I'll do is I'll get every light in the hotel room. They're almost always just lamps.
Yeah.
And I'll put them all in one area if I have to. And then
Smart.
I'll put you wherever I have to put you. And I don't worry about the aesthetics of like what the room looks like. I just make it weird.
Yeah.
And it worked out pretty good. It was really fun. But he was like, yeah, so just... if you want to come watch the show, you can. You can hang out in the green room with us and whatever before. And I was like, dude, that would be awesome.
That's so sick.
So he goes, tell the door guy that I told you you can come back and get there. I think like 8 o'clock. I don't remember what time, but he said, show up at 8, tell him just to send you back to the green room. And John Wallen was working there.
Oh boy.
Dude, I walk in and I was like, hey, so Big J asked me to tell you to just let me back into the green room. And he goes, 2 tickets for Andrew Patterson tonight.
Of course.
And I was like, no, like legit. Like he goes, you don't have to fuck with me, dude. I'm not like, it's fine. I believe that you're here to see a show. I don't think this is a fucking funny joke at all. Like he was like, he thought I was doing a bit and he thought it was a terrible bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that would be a terrible bit. And then Megan came out, the manager at the time, and I think she's still managing. I don't know. I see her there sometimes. So. But anyway, she goes, can I see a text message? We're not supposed to let anybody in the green room without proof. And I was like, yeah, here you go. And she goes, oh, that says Big J Okerson. I was like, but you didn't see the phone number, so I could literally just text myself. Yeah. And she goes, that's a good point. Let me take a look at that phone number and don't tell anybody. And I was like, oh shit, I just told you. But no, it was funny. And then I had to wait for him for a few minutes in the green room. He shows up with John, and John was like making it very clear that I am his friend and he respects me in a way that was weird.
Dude, that's cool though.
I was like, John and I barely know each other. I mean, I know him a lot better now, but he was like making sure Big J knows I'm somebody that can be trusted around him and all that. And also I can't say who, but a person showed up with $160 worth of weed for Big J that was like a request he had locally.
Yeah.
And he goes, let me run to the ATM. And then it's not Garth. What's the guy's name?
Graham?
Yeah. I always think it's Garth.
Yeah.
Graham was like, the ATM's down. And he goes, oh, shit. Okay, give me just a minute. I'll figure it out. And I was like, oh, dude, I got cash on me. 160. I'll just take it. I'll just add it. You said you're paying with the card, so I'll just add it to your tattoo bill at the end. No problem. And then I gave him the 160. And then when we got to the end of the tattoo, I typed in the number for the tattoo.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, shit, I was supposed to add 160. And I go, you know, it'd be way cooler if Big J Okerson owes me money. So Big J Okerson owes me 160 and he doesn't know it.
Big J Okerson owes you drug money.
He owes me drug
money.
That's
even more intense.
And it was also Big J Okerson inspired me to quit worrying about what people look like and get a crossbody backpack that looks kind of like a fucking purse.
Okay.
Because he had a Burberry one and he kept all his cool shit in there for weed. And I was like, weed bag, I like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
So now I have a comedy bag. This is like this because I mean I was always carrying a bunch of shit in boxes and whatever, and I just have like a little crossbody that holds everything but a camera.
Nice.
So it's fun. But yeah, then we go back to his hotel after I get to watch him fucking perform and murder. I mean, murder for free. And then we had to wait till the rabid fan base that he has was not behind the club anymore and just walked out the back door, smoked weed, I probably smoked 9 joints before I tattooed him. Like we smoked a lot of weed and then went and tattooed him. And I was talking shit to John. John was rolling a bunch of joints and I was like, hey, quit calling that rolling joints, dude. Those are cones. And he's like, I used to work at a dispensary actually, and I'm really good at this. And I was like, damn. He was serious for like 2 seconds, and I was like, I don't know if you're fucking with me. He goes, I mean, I wanted to see your reaction, but like, I really don't care. But yeah, I am actually good at this. And I was like, still sounds kind of like you're being serious. But yeah, he rolled up a bunch of joints and we smoked some more. And I was not noticeably, like I could not feel high because I was so fucking like, so much adrenaline that I needed the weed to level me out. And I wasn't like it was fine. So when people talk about smoking with Snoop Dogg, they probably need a lot of weed to get high.
Yeah.
But I've never felt like starstruck or anything before, and that was that. Well, I say that twice. Jeff Gogwe, one of the world's best tattoo artists, I bought a T-shirt from him at a convention. He was like, "Do you want a picture?" And I was like, "Yeah."
That's cool.
And my wife made fun of me for like a week for acting like a little girl. So, but yeah, he's fucking way cooler than you would think. And all the like, I don't know if you listen to his podcast and whatnot, but he was at the time really big into those like pedophile hunt videos and whatnot, and that's real. He was like, that's what he was watching while I was tattooing him. He was like watching people bust pedos.
Dude, when Caleb McCurry opened and did the weekend most recently at Bricktown and hosted, like he would be in the green room obviously for some of it, and he said Big J for hours would just watch live PD pedo ring busting, like just that. He was like and like just fail compilations, like just loves that shit.
Yeah, he was really into it. It was just really funny because that was all he watched, and I was like, "Is this what y'all do all day?" He goes, "Oh, I got like 3 call-ins tomorrow." I never heard anybody say that, but he's like, he had to call into podcast.
Oh, I was like, I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, so that's 3.5 to 5 hours of just talking on Skype with people for interviews.
Damn.
And I was like, oh. Never thought about that as like, that's the hustle. Like when people are like, oh, he's doing 2 sets every night and they're 45 minutes. That's not the hard part. That's what we want to do.
The hard part is like the promo,
all the other shit,
grind, yeah.
But it was cool. And then also Adam Lucky was there. You know Adam Lucky?
Yeah.
He was hosting that weekend. He's fucking cool as shit. He was really nice. And it was cool. Like it was fun. I'm really proud of myself that I got to do it. Really happy that John hooked it up. Also, kind of cool that I have Big J. Okerson's phone number, and I don't want to like randomly text him and be like, "Hey, you want another tattoo?" But I did text him once and say, "Hey, when you're coming back to town, if you need another one, I'm here. If not, I hope you have a good set." You know. But he actually replied like a normal person, was like, "Oh yeah, if I think of something, I'll hit you up." So
nice.
And he didn't think of something. So
he's too busy crafting jokes.
Yeah,
dude, that's really cool. So yeah, mobile tattoo for Big J. That's sick. Okay, tattooing. I love the world of tattooing because I think everybody has seen a tattoo, knows what tattooing is, has seen cool tattoos, but very few people know like the intricacies and back, like behind the scenes of it. So I want to know, as a tattoo shop owner, as a tattoo artist, do you have a favorite or weirdest tattoo you've ever given?
Yeah, I have both. I mean, I've been tattooing a long time, so I've done a lot of weird ones.
Yeah.
So there's like my definition of weird is probably way different than other people's, but this guy, when I was pretty new, he's bisexual, and he was like, so where people get like, at the time, people get lucky you above their penis.
Nice.
It was like a popular thing.
Lucky you,
like,
that's so
they'd
good.
shave their pubes and get lucky you. And he was like, I think that's a funny idea, so I want to get poor bastard. And I was like, that's hilarious, because they're going to look up and read it. He's like, yeah, so I want some dude to be sucking my dick and then look up and make eye contact with a tattoo that says poor bastard, basically demeaning me while he's sucking my dick. And I was like, now that you explain the tattoo that much, I actually don't like it anymore. It's pretty fucking weird.
Yeah.
And the font that he wanted to do, he was like, so could you just do like really sketchy but super readable? So I just like Sharpied poor bastard on him. I think I might have drawn it on paper, but it was just like this thing I was doing at the time where just because nobody else did it, I thought it was cool because it was unique. I just like start fucking doing random lines every direction that I took from when I painted cars. It was like a pinstriping style that I did. So it was like the weirdest fucking font ever. And now every time somebody sucks his dick, they look up and poor bastard. And I don't know if they want to know what it means. I thought that was fucking weird. And then my favorite tattoos, there's kind of a short list. But number one, just off of like...
Quick question on the poor bastard tattoo. So it's written right above the penis area, the shaft. When you're applying that tattoo, where are your hands and face?
My right wrist is on his penis.
Nice.
My face is very far away from his penis. But for...
I was thinking like to keep everything out of the way, you would use, a tattoo gun in the right hand.
Yeah.
Steady yourself, left hand on the thigh, and then cock and balls in the mouth to kind of keep them out of the way.
I thought about that. But my wife was there, so I decided not to do the balls in the mouth part. But that's actually, this is a tattoo secret a lot of people don't know about. It's called gumming. You kind of suck the sack in your mouth and it keeps them steady.
Just a trick of the trade.
Yeah, it's pretty standard,
all
actually.
Tattoo artists know this.
Really, I'm not supposed to talk about it. We kind of took an oath, but it's fine. It's a thing we do. And we don't put the balls. It's Balls is disrespectful. You just
Okay.
suck the sack in there and you just hold it tight between your lips.
Okay.
And it feels like somebody with no teeth is sucking your balls. And that's why we call it.
Nice.
So we call it gumming for 2 reasons. It feels like gum in your mouth and it feels like gums on your sack. So,
Incredible.
but we say scrotum to make it sound more medical.
Of course.
But anyway, yeah, so when I'm tattooing the right side of it, my right arm is mostly actually on his thigh, but occasionally I would accidentally brush his penis, and I try not to. And then on the other side, it's fucking free game because I'm just stretching with my left hand, and my right arm is like all over his belly. So I'm just getting a little belly button where I know there's been a lot of cum, but like I got gloves on. It's fine.
There you go.
I wouldn't do that tattoo now because I have a reputation that allows me to say no to things, but at the time,
You're like,
rent
hey,
was
I need
due,
to work,
buddy.
baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about the favorite tattoos?
Just on like I'm a very technical person with tattoos. There's no like emotional attachment or anything to like any tattoo I've done for the most part. There's some that I'm just like, oh, this like when it's like a memorial, especially for a kid, you're like, you feel honored that they want you to do it. It's the highest amount of pressure you'll feel in your career. And if you fuck it up, you will really hate your life. So those I actually don't enjoy, but I'm glad I get to do them, if that makes sense.
Okay.
But just the actual just tattoo looking at it, I did a koala on my buddy Dakota's girlfriend, Ashley, now wife, at a convention. And every time I look at a picture of this thing or see it in person, I go, holy shit, that's actually better than the photo. Like, it's the only one I've done where I honestly believe I did better than a camera.
Nice.
So for that reason, I'm just like, fucking nailed it.
That's gotta feel good.
So that's probably my favorite. But I've had a few that kind of like in that day kind of topped it. I did there's nothing, the problem with art is there's nothing to compare it to unless you do realism. So as a technical person, I go, I love it. But like I can't prove it's good. Good is subjective, just like comedy.
Yeah.
Where on a portrait, you can prove it's good. You can literally just like put the picture over it on a app on your phone and slowly take the saturation away, or slowly take the opacity down, and you'll see the tattoo creep through the image. And if nothing changes, you fucking nailed it.
Nice.
So that one's like almost perfect in that aspect, where I did one on Lance, probably my best client I've ever had. This guy, have you seen the stool in my booth that has my face on it?
Oh, yeah.
Lance got me that. It's a very expensive stool that's handmade from a guy named Wince Welding on Instagram. I don't know his actual name.
You know what's funny is every time I see that stool,
you sit on it with your...
I make the same joke. I say, Andrew, check this out. And I just like bounce my ass on your face.
Everybody does.
Like, isn't this original and hilarious?
And it is. It's still funny.
You're
every
like,
time.
go home. Go back to Admin.
No, I like it. But no, it's so Wince Welding makes these great fucking stools, and almost every tattoo artist wants one.
Yeah.
And we just like, some of us don't like to spoil ourselves. And Lance found out that I don't like to spoil myself, and he was like, I'm getting you a fucking stool, bro.
Nice.
And then he got that for me for Christmas, and since I didn't choose it, it has my fucking face on it, and he thinks he's hilarious.
That is funny.
But no, he has a tattoo. He has a bunch of good ones, but he has a tattoo by me that he basically said, hey, you know what I like? I know what you like. Let's put those two things together. You come up with something, and as long as it looks cool, I'll just get it.
Nice.
And like really just go nuts. And so we picked a chunk of his leg, took a picture of it, designed something that was a hybrid between the things he gets and the things I do. Because usually he gets stuff that's not actually my style.
Okay.
And it's this like red lady face, which I specialize in black and gray.
Nice.
All red.
So all
that was
red.
a last minute decision. Yeah. I decided halfway through the tattoo, I was like, what if we just did exactly what we have now, but everything's red? And he was like, if you want to. But that's probably my second favorite tattoo. It might be my favorite tattoo just because the whole like, it depends on if I've smoked weed that day or not. I think. Like right now I would say the koala because I'm not high. But I think the other one when I'm high, I'm like, no, that's better because it's like art, bro. Yeah. But I don't know. Top two for sure.
That's cool. So another thing, we've all seen bad tattoos. I've done
bad tattoos.
Well, I was going to ask, have you ever had a tattoo that you know the recipient is going to regret? Or have you ever tried to talk somebody out of one? Like, listen, bro, I know you have a vision.
Yeah.
Your vision is bad.
Yeah. So it's funny you say, have you ever? Like more than I actually tattoo, I do that.
Whoa.
Like not hours spent, but more numbers. Like I tell people they shouldn't get that more than I actually do tattoos.
Wow.
So yeah, tons and tons of bad ideas out there. And some of them are like early in my career, I would just go, okay, you sure you want this? Cause like, this is probably, I would still say no to stuff I thought was like ethically just a bad, like I'd feel like a bad person. Like if somebody was like 19 and just got upgraded to assistant manager at like McDonald's or Walgreens or something, and they're like, this is my career now. I'm going to get a face tat. I'd be like, well, now you go back down. You don't even go up. Like, you're fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Now I guess it's not as taboo, and you could probably you could work at Starbucks with face tattoos, I think.
Probably. They might require it.
Right,
honestly.
yeah. You have to have one showing that's not good. I know that much. But no, like placement-wise, I've been able to say no my whole career, even when it was going to hurt me financially. But until I was in a place where I knew there was another one coming in tomorrow, I kind of would go like, hey, I don't know if this is a good idea, but if you want, like, I'll do it. And other artists would just charge you like double to try to get you to not do it. And I felt like that's kind of fucked up. So I just go, yeah, I mean, it's going to take me about 2 hours at $100 an hour. I guess that's $200. Let's shit. I should tack on 20 for something. But no, I just do it and take a picture of it and never put the picture anywhere. And just like, now I know I did it.
Do you have any examples of tattoos where you were like, oh, the recipient's going to regret this, or this is bad?
Yeah, I mean, this is bad. Was a lady came in that was clearly a prostitute.
Nice.
With a guy in a 7 Series BMW, which is not a cheap one, not an old one either, like a brand new, like very expensive, nice car. In my shop in Wichita Falls that had a gravel parking lot and was falling the fuck apart. And they pulled up to what looked like, I would say I was the number 3 shittiest looking shop in town. So they're kind of like, you expect a certain clientele, which is a great place to practice, by the way, because they don't give a fuck. But they pulled up and she was like, so I need to cover up because he's tired of looking at this. And I was like, what is it? And she had a little smiley face in her butt crack, like right above her butthole.
Whoa, in the crack?
In the crack. So
was the hole the mouth of the smiley face?
No, I wish it was.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That would have been a way better story. But
so if I'm understanding it right, the butthole was actually like the emphysema hole. If the smiley face was a smoker.
Yes. I never thought about it that way, but yeah.
How funny would it be if the guy got her over a doggy style, put his thumb over her butthole and was like, hello,
are you gonna eat me? Give mommy a kiss. That would actually be a reason to keep it.
That would be a great reason
I should have actually gave him that idea and said, hey, you know what? For the same price as a small tattoo, at the time, $50.
Yeah.
For the same price as a small tattoo, I'll give you something better. Why don't you just put your thumb over her butthole while you're and have Cody Troutman teach you some voices. I'll meet him about 15 years from now. So you go ahead and do that.
So she wanted you to cover up a tattoo in her ass crack.
Yeah, and I did because I needed to pay my bills.
Do you now, I'm assuming the price for a leg and an ass crack are different, right?
Generally speaking. So what I did, and I told him straight up, I was like, hey, so usually places like that, first off, I don't work in this type of place a lot, but
I'm not used to working in the rear environment.
I was trying really hard to sound professional, and I was like, generally, anything that's like more sensitive areas, it is more difficult for us to tattoo, so I'm going to charge you, it'll take me maybe 20 minutes, but I'm going to go ahead and charge you an extra $50. So $100, which is like you paying for 2 tattoos of this size, but I am willing to do it if that's cool with you. And he was like, I don't care. And I was like, all right. So the guy's paying for it. I put a little star over it. I'm ready.
As you're starting, you get her in position and you're like, now, ma'am, as a working girl, I do have to clarify. What kind of bodily fluids am I touching? How many wipe downs do I need to do of this area to clear any semen residue,
dude,
excrement, lubrication? Because it could mess up the ink.
It could fuck me up.
I need to know.
Also, like,
who's been back here?
Sperm will crawl around if you don't wipe it off.
Whoa.
So I made that up.
I believed it 100%. I was like, wow.
No. I mean, probably. I don't know. My eyes don't see that good. But no, we clean it so well. That doesn't matter. Gotcha. And that's one of those things I actually like. I was like, okay, what are the odds that I'm about to clean doo-doo? Because like, you don't know if she showered right before she came here or not. And if you wipe up,
no judgment in her profession, she probably needed the cleaning more than the tattoo cover up.
That's actually true. She was nasty. Yeah. So I got it all cleaned up, slapped a stencil on there, which, by the way, stenciling inside an ass crack, basically impossible.
Yeah.
So it was a star, and I did it. And
Star
then
of David.
Actually, it was, and right above it was a swastika. Really confusing. Don't know why. No, but she showed up about 3 weeks later, and she goes, "Hey, could you take a look at my tattoo? It kind of healed weird." And I was like, "Yeah." And my thought was infection because of where it's at. Because I did give her very specific instructions on like how to wipe and everything to make sure. And I was like, "Hey, anytime you can, just shower after you poop." I know it sounds gross, but like,
You got to keep that.
It's got to
it's
go.
a wound.
It's above your butthole, so gravity needs to keep the doo-doo go in the opposite direction. So stand up in the shower, wash like that. I gave her instructions on everything, which sounds really sexual now. Back then, we weren't into booty that much.
Yeah.
But she was like, no, it's just kind of yellowing.
Uh-oh.
And I was like, what the fuck? And I looked at it. It was literally just like shit stained.
Oh, no.
Like I'm not joking. She wanted me to touch it up because it was shit stained. And I was like, if I clean this off and you can see that it's not yellowing, I mean, And he was like, no, I'm still willing to pay for it. So I touched it up one time. And I think I charged him $100 for that too. Damn. Which back then that was like pretty good. I mean, that was like a $200 day would be an okay day. And she was one of like 3 or 4 people I tattooed that day. And then the touch up comes back and I'm like, shit, you just doubled my money on a bad day.
Honestly, I think you're undercharging.
Now I would say $1,000 to tattoo in your butt crack.
Yeah,
I would start at $1,000.
Thank God. That sounds more reasonable.
If you do like a back piece and it's necessary for it to go down on your butt and it needs to kind of dip in through I don't care. Like if it's part of the art I'm doing.
But you're not spreading cheeks, shaving hairs.
Yeah, like my tattoo. Well, you're shaving everything. You got.
Oh, you are shaving.
Yeah, you're shaving some butts.
Nice.
Yeah, I shave everything but palms and bottoms of feet, which is pretty rare to do. So, like, on women, like when they get a chest piece, they're always like, "Why are you shaving my chest? I don't have hair there." And I'm like, I don't know if you're joking or not, but literally all people have hair everywhere. Like,
the little tiny,
and those matter so much. Like,
okay,
I'll see a video on Instagram sometimes of like a person tattooing, and you just see them pulling a line. And it's like they're doing super good, and you just see like a bunch of hair, and you're like, did they even try to shave it? And it's not likely that you get an infection, but it definitely increases the odds by a ton. And that is not even the beginning of how many dirty, nasty things tattoo artists do that they don't give a fuck. Like, a lot of tattoo artists really genuinely don't care about their clients. Like I heard a guy one time, I said, hey, why don't you wrap your machine? He goes, oh, it's non-porous. So basically your machine is smooth. So in his mind, we can clean it off and it's not going to get anybody sick. It's got blood all over it. So if this was in the medical field, that goes in an autoclave, which means it's fully sterilized or it gets replaced. In our industry, there's replaceable grips that you can replace every day, and then there's grips you cover. Most replaceable grips suck.
Okay.
So you have to cover them and clean them, and if you have an issue with your covering, you go to your friend's shop that has an autoclave because he's got a piercer, and you autoclave that bitch. This is something you should not fuck around with because people can get hep C. This guy literally looks me in the eye and goes, what, do they get hep C? And I was like, yeah! And he goes, but they're not going to know it was me.
Oh.
And I was like, so you're saying that every client you have gets tattooed by other people and has crazy sex lives and does IV drugs? And he's like, no, but it's going to be like 20 years. They won't even think about me. And I was like, you literally marked their body. They're going to fucking know it was you.
Yeah.
And he was like, but they can't prove it. Like he literally doesn't give a fuck. He was like, if they die, but I have to spend an extra 8 minutes a day wrapping my shit up. Like, come on.
God, that's brutal.
They're generally not going to die, but it's like $80,000 a year to take care of yourself at that point. It's very expensive.
Yeah.
And they're going to die sooner. You're going to shave some years off the end of their life. So
one thing I just thought of, I don't know why this just occurred to me.
Semen.
I'm still
every time.
I'm still on the ass crack cover.
That's fine. That's my favorite tattoo I've ever done, actually.
So we're gonna amend the earlier list.
Oh yeah,
the koala and the red lady bumped down.
It's way down.
So I thought where the story was going was you were gonna say she comes in and she was like, it healed a little weird, and you're like, oh, and you thought there was gonna be like some wounding or like irritation on the skin. You spread the ass open. Just straight up ass herpes. Just like she just has an STD and she's like, it's my tattoo. I got hep C from that needle.
What's funny is I actually considered, like, because of the lifestyle I knew she was living, I thought about that.
Yeah.
When she came out, I was like, I wonder if she got some kind of infection I've never seen that I would never know how to deal with. Like, that was kind of the first thing that popped in my head. That being said, I figured it out pretty quickly, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's it's nothing. It's
You're
just
like, this is
shit.
super common.
It's just doo doo." Yeah, every time I tattoo an ass crack cover up on a hooker that was in a BMW, 100% of the time this happens. So, really, statistically speaking, you're normal. Which, if you tell people that, they don't know you're fucking with them. I could actually have said that to her, and she'd be like, "Interesting,"
and technically true because that's probably 100% one of one.
Yeah, she was 101.
As a professional tattoo artist, I'm a total novice in the world of tattooing. I watch the show Ink Master. I think it's fun. It's entertaining. What's your take on it? Because I'm sure there's some thoughts in the tattoo world about the show Ink Master.
Tattoo artists get way too bent out of shape about it. So first off, I love and hate Ink Master. So my career would not be what it is without TV shows. Period.
Okay.
Like it took tattooing from being like a biker thing, a sailor thing, kind of a criminal underworld thing. It was already easing into occasionally somebody would get a tramp stamp, but it wasn't everybody.
Gotcha.
Now everybody that wants a tattoo can get away with it. So that I have to give thanks to, TLC's shows that I think are fucking cheesy as shit that I thought were cool back then.
Yeah.
And those led to Ink Master. And Ink Master, the first couple seasons, I actually thought was really cool.
Okay.
Like season 1, Josh Woods, the guy that did this hand tattoo, this little fishy. His name's Tackle. I don't know which camera to point that out, but his name's Tackle. All of them. I had Josh do that in Lake Tahoe, Nevada at a convention, and I'm really happy with the tattoo. And it was, shit like that. Like, I've always loved his work, and I found out about him through that show. And then I looked at his work, and I was like, oh, he was in like Nashville at the time. And he was just an incredibly unique artist that was doing shit nobody was doing at the time.
Damn.
And he was top of his game. And he was on that show, and he did okay. He didn't win. But when I got tattooed by him, I asked him a bunch of questions because it's basically a podcast. I was like, hey, how do you feel about Ink Master?
Yeah.
And he was like, dude, everybody hates on it, but like it doubled my prices. It doubled how long I booked. It gave me a lot of opportunities, so I can't complain.
Yeah.
But he also said that it's not as competitive or real as it looks. And he said the time thing, he was like, that 6-hour time limit, that is the most real thing you've ever seen. They are really strict on that.
Okay.
But he also said, like, you could kind of figure out, not that it was rigged or anything, but you could just kind of figure out who was going to win by like season or episode 2.
Okay.
And he was like, I knew that Shane O'Neill was going to win before episode 3 was done recording. Wow. And I was like, that's crazy. Like, did you know? Like they told you? He's like, no. I just like, you could just tell. Like, it was obvious.
Interesting.
There was no reason to even be competitive. So then you go, okay, we already know there's no way we win based on whatever criteria. I don't know. So now he can just relax and show off his work and go, I want to be top 5 because that's going to get me what I want. Mm-hmm. The cash prize, you open a tattoo shop with it. I mean, but if you don't get the cash prize, you just charge double for the next 3 years and you get more money than you would have got off the cash prize anyway. So who cares? So he thought it was a weird thing, but a good thing for his career. And I've had 3 opportunities so far to be on Ink Master and Ink Master Angels. So Ink Master Angels is a smaller like spinoff.
Yeah. So you kind of I want to hone in on that for a second. You've been asked to be, or had the opportunity to be on Ink Master.
I applied once. They didn't know who I was. They didn't reach out. I applied one time. They switched and I could have gotten on. I didn't like the contract and there was some weird shit.
Okay.
But I say I could have gotten on. I could have gone to the last interview phase for sure.
Yeah.
But I didn't because it was just like, their contract is not fair. Basically, they can control what you can and can't do in your career indefinitely. They can make you come on TV anytime they want to. Wow. Now, the loophole in that I now understand after tattooing a bunch of attorneys is you just book your calendar full of financially detrimental obligations, I think, is where if I don't do this, I can't pay my bills. Gotcha. So you book appointments. You book one appointment for one client that's a really valuable client every single week for the rest of your life if you don't want to go back on the show. And then they can't make you. So there's loopholes. I just didn't know. And I got to page 17. I called my dad. I had sent him a copy and I was like, have you read through the whole thing? And he goes, yeah, how far in are you? And I was like, 17. He goes, is that okay? I read most of it, but that's about where it starts getting weird. And I was like, that's why I'm calling. Yeah. We had the same thought. Yeah. And if my dad and I agree, shit's bad.
Okay.
So I backed out on that one. And then I guess later, they switched agencies. I don't know whoever calls and finds it. They started more of a scouting process instead of taking applications. You can still apply, I think. But they just reached out to me, and it was people that I had not dealt with before. They didn't know about that. Mm-hmm. And they were like, hey, would you be interested in coming on Ink Master? And
they reached out to you. That's cool.
Yeah, I felt very cool about that. They sent me the same thing, different contract as far as wording goes, but basically the same thing, a little more strict. And I was like, okay. I guess it's 4. There was the time that Ink Master Angels, which is a spinoff, came to Oklahoma City.
Okay.
And they asked me if I'd be interested in doing it. And then they just told me how it worked. And I was like, That's fucking dumb. Like the other ones, I was like, I would do it just for the exposure because, and I think every artist that tells you that, okay, there's two camps on this. Every artist that's like, no, that shit's gay, I would never do that. They're probably not in their mind, and it's not even always real. Sometimes they're really good artists. They're probably not good enough to get on there.
Gotcha.
Maybe it's not good as not. Maybe they're not diverse enough to succeed.
Okay, yeah.
Because some people are amazing at portraits and can't do traditional.
Yeah.
I would fall into the category of I can only do like 7 or 8 styles well.
Okay.
And there's 100 styles now. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
even know what, like, you fucking somebody said it's ignorant style one time, and I was like, what the fuck is that? It's like intentionally bad. I'm sure I could figure it out, but I
remember
don't
on the
know how to
most recent season that the guy that ended up winning, he had to do a biomech watercolor mashup. And I was like, that is crazy.
Yeah, so I can do biomech really well, and
Ooh,
I can
nice.
do watercolor, I guess. Technically, I can do it.
I'll send you the YouTube video of this tattoo because it was pretty
Okay, I was like,
incredible.
I
He pulled it
don't
off.
think I would pull that off.
It's
I can
really
do
wild.
one at a time. That mashup sounds hard. But the thing is, like, most artists know, I know I couldn't do that as well as, I haven't seen this, but probably couldn't do it as well as that guy. So I probably wouldn't win anyway. That being said, I would do it for the exposure. I'm okay with people going, yeah, he was number 14. Like, who gives a shit? Like, you still made it on the show. People like you for your personality, or they like something you do in your work, and you have
Yeah.
more clients, and now you've just bought yourself a little bit more legitimacy.
Yeah.
So why not do it? That being said, if the contract's dumb, and like, I mean, dude, the guy that tattooed my back, his mentor got kicked off for smoking weed. He was the only
Whoa.
person I've heard of ever to have that happen. I think his name was like Josh something.
Damn.
But it's Jeff Norton did my back. He's amazing. But his mentor was the one that got kicked off for weed.
Wow.
But like, most artists will complain about it and tell you how terrible it is and how it's stupid and how it ruined tattooing. And it ruined tattooing in the way that it took the thing where people walk in and they feel scared, and then you can control them and boss them around and make them get some shit they don't want.
Gotcha.
Took that out.
Yeah.
I think that's good. I didn't realize how intimidating getting a tattoo was for other people until I went and got a tattoo that I like drove several hours for, saved up money for, and then the guy was like, "Oh, by the way, it's at my house." And I was like, "What the fuck?"
Whoa.
Like, you're on the cover of Ink magazine this month, dude.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about? And then I pull up at his house and I was like, well, it's a nice house. And then I realized, oh, I just have these things in my head, but that kind of scared me. And then I walked in and he like smoked weed in front of me when he's about to tattoo me, and I'm paying tons of money. At that time, this was like the most I could ever imagine paying for a tattoo.
Yeah.
And I was intimidated. And then I went back with a new thing. I go, oh, people are kind of fucking nervous when they get here. Maybe I should be mindful of that and not be a dick to them and act like it's just, because for me, it is every day. It's just, for them, it's the first time or the third time or the fifth time. It's never the 428th time they dealt with this.
You know what I draw a parallel to is like, we've done hundreds of mics and shows.
Yeah.
When somebody shows up and it's their first time,
It's scary.
You forget, like, because I was terrified.
Me
I
too.
could, and I was at just some shitty dive bar. I wasn't even at like the Bricktown mic, but for somebody to show up to like the Bricktown mic and it's their first time, I'm always like, yeah, dude, sit down for a minute. I'll tell you how it goes. Don't worry about it. How funny would it be if the like you go to this guy's house that you're paying all this money for and he's tattooing you and he's like, you'll never believe it. Yesterday, a hooker showed up in a BMW and I tattooed a smiley face above her asshole.
That would be amazing. But I guess my point is there's a lot of tattoo artists that miss that thing where we're shady, sneaky, badass pirates, and but the thing is, that doesn't help you make a living, and it doesn't help you progress as an artist. And also, like, a lot of those guys hate the word artist. They're like, oh, I'm a tattooer, I'm a craftsman. I'm like, that's great. You don't do art, I do. I don't. That's fine. Like, and we can call it not art if you want, but it is art. It's all art. But there's those guys fucking hating Master. And now I will say, after like 3 or 4 seasons, I think it got so played out and weird that like I don't get why people watch it.
Gotcha.
So I'm not saying I love the show. I actually don't find it entertaining, and it's hard to watch for us because you're like, well, that's not real. That's not real. That's not.
Yeah.
It'd be like if you were a horror movie producer and then you took 5 years off and then somebody just put out a new horror film and you're trying to watch it, or if you're a detective that investigates murders and you're watching Law and Order. Like, it's just, you're like, yeah, that's really played up for the camera. That being said, I just separate it. It is entertainment. It's not part of the tattoo industry. It's entertainment, and for the people that like it, it's good entertainment, so I can't hate on it, and I owe them a good chunk of the money I've made and the connections I've made and the cool shit I've been able to do in my life, because tattooing would still be like, yeah, come on, sit down. All right, see you later. And I mean, when I started, the best guy out there at Black and Gray was Bob Tyrell. He's still amazing, but he went on there as a guest judge, and kind of most people were like, oh shit, Bob's like a fucking cool guy, and he's on there as a guest judge. And then Nico Hurtado, who's amazing, was on there. And all these guest judges, half the industry called them sellouts for going on there. Dang. And half the industry was like, well, if he says it's fine, then it's fine.
Yeah.
And it's a very divisive thing, but I don't get why, I understand why people say they hate it. I don't think they're being honest, though. I think they wanted their cool little thing, and they don't want to admit that it helped them.
Okay.
And so that's my full take on it.
I think that's a very nuanced, respectful take.
I hope so. There's a lot of shows that I think are fucking cool with tattoos. I just only watch the first season, and then they get cheesy.
Gotcha.
And the cover-up ones, those all suck so far. Okay. I just haven't enjoyed them, but I've tried.
Yeah, I've only seen Ink Master, so let me see.
Well, have you watched a recent, like the last couple of years, or an older one?
Yeah, I watched the most recent one because I had never really watched it before. My sister's into it.
Oh, okay.
And she would just always talk about it, so I was like, oh, I'll watch the most recent season.
Is your sister somewhat tattooed, or no?
She only has like a couple. She just likes that world.
I'll tell you one more complaint artists have that is legitimate. People think they know what the fuck tattooing is because they watched it on TV. So like your sister, no offense to your sister, don't know her. She might be one of those people that when she comes in, she goes, so you're not really saturating it very well. And we're like, bitch, shut the fuck up.
She just thinks it's cool.
Yeah. But there's those people that it did create people that think they know more than they do about it. So that's a real issue. Other than that,
I think the same thing happens with comedy with how many clips are out. Like, in the Instagram comments on clips, you see so many people like trying to give joke advice. Like, oh, this joke would have been funnier if this was the punchline. I'm like, that's the most dog shit punchline I've ever heard.
Also, it's like, I've never seen you do stand up, and if you did, you probably want to get laughs. So you're the wrong person for it. But yeah.
Something I wanted to ask you about. You are a man who, I would say you choose to be bald. Like, you shave your head.
I do shave my head.
Yeah,
it's
you shave your head.
It's not fully a choice. I mean, it is a choice to shave, but there's not much going on in the front. I still don't have like a bald spot in the back, though.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It's just kind of, my forehead's just like a 43 head now. It just keeps going.
That was my question, is at what point did you decide to shave the head?
So I have a bit about it that I think is hacky, but everybody likes it.
Okay.
So I don't hate the bit. I just am like, okay, really? Y'all like this? Like, I judge everybody that laughs at it.
Yeah.
But my bit's pretty much true. Like, I noticed my hair was thinner in the front middle area, and I kept asking people, and I realized in hindsight, my wife's explained it to me, why they all didn't know. But I wore a hat a lot to hide it.
Gotcha.
And I didn't think it was super bad. But I asked my wife, I was like, hey, is it bad enough I should just shave it? Because I keep seeing these guys that are hanging on to it too long, and that's way worse than being bald. And that now really frustrates me, because it's like, it's so freeing to just fucking shave your head.
You see the Larry David where it's everywhere but the top of his head?
But it's like
his is kind of ironic.
Larry David's fine because it's fun. Yeah. I'm saying the guy that like dyes his hair, has a dyed black beard, and like does a comb over, but the comb over's got like weird, like you can see a big wispy gap. Yeah, it's like you're like Donald Trump level shit. And it drives me fucking nuts, because I'm like, okay, even if your head's all beat to shit, just your hair is not helping.
It's not.
Get rid of it. Yeah. But I asked everybody that I thought I could trust, genuinely. I was like, hey, you're not gonna hurt my feelings. How bad is this?
Yeah.
And every time they'd be like, dude, it's thick. Nobody ever told me the truth. I swear, nobody has ever told me the truth except one lady who was, I guess she was working at a barbershop, and she goes, it's time to shave your head. That was like 3 years before it was actually time to shave my head. She was just being a bitch.
Yeah.
I look back at pictures and I go, that was the time.
Gotcha.
So 3 years before
was
then,
an inflection point.
I had one person tell me 3 years early that was just being a bitch. Nobody else has ever told me, even when I asked them. So I asked my barber. I was like, hey, dude, like, how bad is it? He's like, dude, you can go. Dude, fucking come to us. We'll fucking make it look great. I got a guy just left. He doesn't even have hair when I cut his hair. And I was like, well, it's you saying that.
Yeah.
It's a fucking dumb person to ask. So I left, and I was like, clearly I asked the fucking wrong guy. So I went back not too long after that, and I was like, I'm just going to try on shorter haircuts. Because like Jason Statham, like he's not bald, but it's like short.
Yeah, it's like a short buzz.
That did not look right on me.
Damn.
So I got one more haircut that was super short, and then I just went home and fucking shaved it, and it was like August, and it looked so bad. Like, it was like I didn't realize I was tan at all. The tan line was terrible.
Oh.
I went back then, those like nutrition places were hot with the teas that turns out to have like aluminum in them or whatever. So I went and got me some poison tea, and the girls that worked there were just like really nice. I mean, like if I was single, this isn't what would have happened. But if I was single, I would think that I go, hey, is there a back room to this place? Because I'm about to smash both of y'all bitches. Like they were like,
and they were just trying to sell you some poison supplements.
No, I had already bought it. They knew. They see me all the time. They'd never seen me bald. They'd seen me over and over, hair with hat. Same girls, never ever were like, they were just normal. They're like, hey, here's your tea. They were like about to come out of their fucking slippery little seats. And I was like,
so there was a level of sexuality.
There was a very large level of sexuality.
Wow.
Then I went home and told my wife. She was not excited about that.
Bummer.
But what happened
The wife is never excited when you fuck other chicks,
no,
right?
they don't like it. It's fucking lame, dude. Try harder, Brandy.
Why do you think I like hanging with the boys? I can talk about getting pussy.
Back when I used to pretend it was really happening.
Yeah.
I can talk about it in the past and say it happened, and they can't prove it didn't because there weren't phones back then.
Oh, I was getting all
dude. When I was 16, 400 a day. Nobody can prove anything. But no, they were really nice to me, and then months go on, and I realized it wasn't because I was bald. As they found out I don't have cancer, they were not nice to me anymore. Oh, real shit. Real shit. I thought bald made me hot. I really did. I honestly was like, dude, like these girls fucking love bald guys.
Oh,
and
man.
now I didn't think it was me. I thought it was like a them issue. I was like, fuck, they legit, almost for sure. That's the only thing. Because that week when the tan line was bad, everybody was so nice to me because they saw me hair with hat, overnight, no hair. They didn't see a progression. They didn't see, all the normal steps. It was, I had shaggy hair and I was always wearing a hat. And you couldn't tell I was balding because I was wearing a hat and I had plenty back here, little curls coming out and shit. And everybody was super fucking nice. Damn. So I've just taken that. I've taken all the realities of that and put them into a joke where like my mom said I look sexy bald. It's a fucking dumb joke. But
so these women that you thought were hitting on you, they were just doing like...
They thought I had cancer. Pity
flirt.
They would have pity fucked me because they knew I wouldn't have enough energy to hurt them because they thought it was chemo. So there was that.
So these women thought you had cancer, and so we're trying to make you feel better by flirting with you.
Yes, but here's where it comes in. Here's the cool parts of being bald. I knew I was balding, knew I should shave my head, and I text. Do you have a friend that like you talk to like 3 times a year, but you consider him like one of your best friends anyway?
Yeah, my best friend, man.
It's weird.
Yes.
So Tony Garibay, he's a fire marshal in Lawton. He's a fucking great dude. Everybody that's ever known him probably thinks he's their best friend because he's just so fucking cool.
I'm probably the same. My best friend's I'm probably number 9 on his list.
Same, and I'm okay with that. But Tony's awesome, and I texted him. I was like, hey, you've been bald since you were like in your early 20s. How big of a deal was it? Like, because my concern was my mom told me not to shave my head because I'm her youngest and that's going to make her feel old. She didn't say that, but she was like, please don't shave your head. And that makes you feel bad. So that buys you another year.
Well,
and then my wife said the same thing.
She thought you were so sexy bald.
That's,
it was tough
she didn't
for
want to
her.
get turned.
Yeah.
She was thinking, if he looks even just one more bit like Jason Statham, I'm going to fucking come. And because, the same face, same accent and everything, really. But no, it was like one of those things where I just texted him. I was like, hey, how hard was it for like your girlfriend at the time, your mom, women in your life? Because Brandy doesn't want me to do it. My mom doesn't want me to do it. He goes, bro, they'll get over it. It's not their head. Also, if you go out feeling self-conscious, you go to a wedding, you want to wear a hat to a fucking wedding because you got to cover up your head. And now you just show up at a wedding in a suit. You'll look fucking cool. It's going to make you feel better. Do it. In all caps, do it. Sent me a picture of all the shit. And he goes, oh, also new hobby, shave cream, shave gel, shave butter. Like all this different shit. He was like, it's fucking fun. And I was like, deal. So like 2 or 3 weeks of like, okay, can I actually do this? And then I just fucking went and got that final haircut and didn't like it. So I just shaved it that day, showed my wife and she goes, okay, that's a lot. That is a change and we're going to adjust.
That is smooth.
One of my daughters was like, I don't like you bald. Now, 3 months later, nobody can remember me having hair at all. Nobody knows I ever had hair. My kids think I look weird in pictures with hair. It didn't even take a year for everyone to be like, no, bald is how you're supposed to look.
Wow.
It was really weird.
That's cool.
There's that is cool. And then you also have the thing where it's like you have an option if you wanted to just like let it grow back and keep your beanies on. So like right now I couldn't put a beanie on because I shaved this morning. It would pop off. But tomorrow a beanie is stuck to my head like Velcro. Pretty cool
Wow.
feature. Nobody talks about this. These are bald guy secrets.
Yeah.
Another big advantage is bald guys just like bald recognize bald. Like you just kind of get
I was going to ask, is there a bald guy solidarity?
It's something. I don't.
Okay.
It feels like, you know how like Freemasons can go anywhere in the world and just show their ring and they got a place to stay.
Yeah.
I get a lot more head nods.
Nice.
And it's always a bald guy. So that's cool.
Keep the truth, brother.
The downside is I love Hawaiian print shirts. And when I wear them, if I wear jeans or khakis and not a swimsuit with them, I am associated with two different groups I didn't know existed. That is considered their uniform.
Whoa, who are these groups?
Neo-Nazis apparently wear fucking Hawaiian print shirts because they're fun guys. I didn't know that. I was like, what the fuck? I thought they all wore like just brown because they're fucking...
Listen, when I'm not campaigning for the master race, I like to go bowling.
For real though.
Yeah.
Like they wear Hawaiian print button-up shirts and khaki shorts, like cargo shorts usually. So
when I'm not spitting on immigrants at the border, I like playing poker with the guys. I love hanging out in Fort Lauderdale.
What's weird is you're trying to sound funny and ironic. You're describing their lives. They're like, we collect guns, we smoke cigars, and we just like, you know, sometimes watch cool movies with our boys. And they're just normal people, except they all agree on one thing that's terrible. And it's fucking weird. So that, and then also operators, like the military contractor guys that do all the work that the military can't legally do.
Yeah.
They consider it like a uniform when they're abroad.
Oh.
So like when they go into cities and whatnot, that's their tourist vacation look. So when they come back home, they own all these clothes they've been using to blend in to look like me visiting Costa Rica when they're visiting some other place that I doubt there's operators in Costa Rica. But like that, and like
they're visiting the jungles of Sierra Leone.
yeah,
like,
but they're like, hey, we're on
river."
vacation. So to blend in, they dress like a tourist, and a tourist apparently dresses like I like to dress. So I've done a few shows where I had people actually think I was a fucking Nazi.
Nice.
We did one. Are you familiar with Bowie, Texas?
No, but I bet it's a small town.
It's a small town. I have a client that's a cop from there. She's a Hispanic lady. She has to have backup every time she pulls over a white man over 40. Oh, not joking.
Gosh.
Like a legit problem. She's going to
this
either...
lady came across the border and stole a cop car.
That's what they... They think they're like, these Mexicans are stealing our jobs as police officers that require background checks. And they're like, what the fuck? She was born in Texas, bitch.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a real problem she has. And I thought it was interesting. I didn't know that about the town. She told me that. I kind of forgot that.
Yeah.
Matt Farrell's like, hey, we got a gig in Bowie. You want to hit it with me? And I was like, yes, I do. Stage time. Sounds
Yeah,
great.
baby.
We go to this big brewery type place. It's like, I don't know, fucking something. It's a nice looking place.
Mm-hmm.
You look around, you realize I stand out as the most city looking guy that blends in, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like I kind of look the part. There's a lot of Hawaiian print shirts. There's a lot of like normal button up like Charlie Sheen bowling shirts. There's a lot of cowboy type shit. And Matt always tells the story as they thought Andrew, covered in tattoos, Hawaiian print shirt and jeans with the gauged ears was their people. Bald head, looked like he definitely was going to say some shit. Like some not pro-Trump.
How y'all do down here? If it ain't white, it ain't right.
There you go. They were
Call me
expecting,
Andrew.
they were legit expecting if it ain't white, it ain't right humor.
Yeah.
And I went up there, and the way Matt says it is all he had to do was open his mouth. They just heard me talk for 2 seconds. They're like, they brought a fucking queer in here, and he's in here doing queer shit, and he's gonna make us all gay. And then back then,
clearing up the stage.
this is how amateur. I mean, I'm still fucking amateur.
Yeah.
This is how much I didn't understand about comedy at the time. I wrote all these jokes that fucking killed at the loony bin, where people are mostly progressive to average. And then I go to Bowie, Texas, and think it's gonna be the same. And I had jokes about how black women are more attractive.
Nice.
I had jokes about trying to make my wife a mixed baby. I had jokes about putting things in my butt. I had jokes about my wife putting things in my butt.
You're just reading your diary.
So really what I did is I took my diary from the last 3 days and I read it, but I cut out the boring stuff about how much I love the finger in my butt and made it sound like it made me nervous to build a little tension.
Because you're trying to be relatable.
Right. You don't want everybody to know that you just open it and she sticks it in there and then you can close it and she goes, ow, you bit me. Like when you have that kind of anal sphincter control, you don't want to talk about it on stage because people get jealous.
Yeah.
But in Bowie, they hated me.
Damn.
And what's funny is Matt's like, I'm never fucking going back. The other day I was tattooing somebody and I told them about that. And I go, you know, it'd be really fun. I want to go back to Bowie. I want to rewrite a 15 to 20 minute set and make it the gayest version I could possibly do and be like, so guys, check it out. I'm gay redneck. I think it would be the most fun. Be like, so here's what I'm thinking, okay? I'm bald, right? And just go into all my material doing this voice and do a lot of these with my hands. Just real gay. Wrist. Just like, okay, hey, honey, to a guy in a cowboy hat.
Oh.
I think if we brought 3 armed guards, this, if we can keep the footage, would make some great videos.
Could be a hit.
I was thinking we go revisit the same place. Everybody else does a normal set, and I'm the headliner, and I come out as fucking the gayest thing. Like, just be like, so yeah, me and my husband were talking about the other day, and we're thinking about getting a nanny, but we don't want a nanny because girls are gross, so we're gonna get a manny, and we're gonna both fuck him. Like, just like, it's not even funny, just like, what the fuck? With a little bit of actual jokes in there.
Yeah.
And I already have like an hour of penis jokes.
Yeah.
So... yeah, I text Matt about that. He said that's the worst idea I've ever had. I don't know why. He's not a supportive person. I think it's the best idea I've ever had. And I think you do too.
It is compelling. I'll tell you that. It is life-threatening. And if you're of the mindset that true comedy is about taking risks, brother, that's about as big a risk as you can take.
That's a risk. In the same capacity that, like, do you remember when Ari Shaffir did The Amazing Racist?
Only slightly.
It was great. It was very edgy, and he'd do dumb stunts. This is just the opposite version of that.
Okay.
Anyway, next thing. We got 5 minutes. Let's do it.
Closing thought. A would you rather question.
I love these.
I'm gonna think. Okay. Would you? Oh, you know what? I got one that's perfect for you.
Okay.
Would you rather have an enormous penis but have crippling erectile dysfunction, or a tiny penis that is hard as a rock, ready to go at a moment's notice?
So that's
always reliable.
Way too easy for me. Tiny penis, because I'm more of a oral guy. Don't even really need a penis.
Yes.
You could ask my wife. She doesn't even know if I have one anymore.
Nice.
I penetrate her with my tongue, and she goes,
and that's enough.
It's more than you need. It's probably outside of mouth, still like an inch and a half. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So
that's more than my penis.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like that or my penis. But I'd go with small penis, always hard. I mean,
nice.
People can't suck it if it's too big.
True. That is true.
So really, that's easy.
Damn.
I thought you'd have a hard one for me. You want to hit me with one more since that was so fast?
that
was like my sex life. Very fast, very easy.
But really efficient and effective.
Yes, I'm efficient. I'm an efficient lover.
Let's see.
I get the job done.
What a good answer
for me.
What a good answer.
For her once. It was 11 years ago. It was December 3rd.
In 2014, December 3rd, I made my wife bust.
Oh, she busted hard. I think she did. She moved a little. Okay.
She almost woke up.
Yeah, dude. That's the thing. Every time if she starts to move around and I think she's waking up, I'm like, dude, that's coming. I got her.
Let me think, because I kind of want to ask the search history. Do you have any interesting insights on the search history one? You want to address that?
I listened to that on the way here, actually. You were talking to Lacey, which, by the way, I got to meet her. She's fucking hilarious.
Oh, Lacey's the best.
But it was, would you rather the whole world, it's like a national news story, see your...
Yeah, I can ask you that one if you want, because I know.
Yeah, but the answer is going to be pretty easy too. Like, obviously it's text. Okay. Like, I don't care. Okay, I don't care if you see my text because I'm careful with what I text. Yeah. And actually, I think it might be freeing if a lot of people saw my text because they know how much I hate them. So, like, a few people would never talk to me again because they know I fucking can't stand them. That's 3 people.
Yeah. Oh, I have one.
Good.
And I have a comedy related.
I'll give you their names. I'm joking.
I have a comedy related one.
Okay.
Would you rather become super famous as a comedian and you can sell out arenas, like fans love you, but no other comedians respect you? Or would you rather struggle to sell a ticket, but every comedian respects the hell out of you?
So would I rather be Dave Attell but not selling tickets?
Yeah.
Or Matt Rife is the...
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, so the thing is, I have plenty of respect for Matt Rife. I'm just using extremes. Like, I don't have the same opinion most people I know do. I don't love his material, but I don't hate him. I think he's worked very hard to get where he's at. And
dude,
he's doing good.
Grinds.
He's just doing good at something that's not what I'm trying to do.
Yeah,
so it's not... We're not doing the same thing. It's fine. But I would probably rather as much as I would love the respect of comics, but the reality is... that's a small group of the world, and that's their opinions. And if I don't have the respect of comedians, but I do have the respect and admiration of everybody else, and I can sell out anywhere, I can help comedians that don't like me and still help them.
Oh, that's true.
And I have the respect of the masses, which to me means there's something I did different that's going to later stand out. Like Bob Dylan went electric and then people hated him. This is going electric. I think it might actually be okay that every comedian hates you, because I know I'd still have some friends that would go, hey, I don't have respect for you, but I'll still do 20 and we'll hang out and I'll be nice to you. And so I'd still have the people that are really important. So I think I would go with that one. Although fame has never been my motivator. It's actually scary to me. It's one of the few parts of comedy I don't like.
Okay.
And, that was one thing about tattooing Big J that was really fun. I asked him about it. I was like, how, like, can you like go to Walmart and shit? He's like, yeah, it's not that big of a deal. You just got to stop and take a picture every now and then. It's not huge.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, Big J also not as big to people that aren't comedy nerds and comedians as he is to everybody else.
That makes sense.
So if I could pick a career where I top, I would be cool with like, I get to Big J and nothing higher would be like the dream.
That would be awesome.
But being like Nate Bargatze would scare the shit out of me.
He's like, famous.
Yeah. So I hate that this is recorded and people are going to see this, but I think that's it, because I think the respect of comics is important to me. But at the same time, I think if you're just doing by pure numbers, that means you did something so outside the box that those people that don't respect you might just be haters. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I like that. Like
I'm not sure.
You're interpreting it as I became successful because I innovated and did something worth note. I think that's a good way to look at it.
That's the only way I see myself getting to that point. Yeah. And losing the respect of all comics simultaneously.
I like it.
So, like, that being said, I don't think I have the respect of that many comics outside of being a showrunner, and I'm okay with that.
We're both so new. I mean, I respect you. I hope you know that.
I respect you. Okay. And I tell people about you all the time.
I appreciate that. Man, okay, we got to get to Bricktown. We got mics to hit. We got skills to build. Andrew, thanks for coming on. This episode's been awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you,
I had fun. I wish it was longer.
Yeah, well, we got to have there's a couple things we didn't even get to, so we'll have to have you back in town and get you back on.
Oh, that's terrible. Don't write that down.
I just drew a bunch of dicks. That's all he's saying here.
Well, they're very well-drawn dicks, though.
Andrew, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
See you next time.
See you next time.
The